was Groucho Marx, who was doing for Lever Brothers, the same company I told you who made Whisk and all that, who was doing the question thing, the $24 or, well, the most you could win was something like 58.
$64.
Oh, $64, right. My tactic with the biggies, pay little attention to them. Because if they're pros, like Lucy and Groucho and Red Skelton, they don't want anybody coming in. And they don't trust the New York guys. And I was always stationed in New York. I would move to California. And
That's
I get
noise.
I know.
I get a call, and is something going on? Am I being booed out of here?
Marky's not paying attention to you, you know? That's right.
You have a
Marky
way
does
with
that.
dogs.
Marky.
Remember Edna's dog?
Anyhow, dogs aside, I get a phone call, Groucho. Yeah, oh, hello, I hadn't seen him yet. And I'd been with the company maybe 6 months at this time, and he was my responsibility. But I wasn't going to screw up anybody, especially myself. So I knew he wanted to be alone, and all of a sudden he says, hey, Beckwith, I want to come east. And I thought maybe you had something for me to do, which is another way for them to get a free trip. You know, they can write it off on their income taxes business, even if he just goes to see his grandfather. And I said, we'd be delighted to have you. He was the #2 show in the country. And he said, all right, I'm coming in at some time. And I said, where are you staying? Well, Groucho was a funny guy. He, when he was first getting started in the business, used to stay at the Astor Hotel, which was almost a flop house on Times Square. His dressing room was like a nail in the wall, you know. He'd hang his pants up on the wall, and he was ready to go. And I said, all right, when are you coming? And he told me, and I said, I'll pick you up tomorrow. I have arranged a luncheon at Lever Brothers, and they're bringing in all the vice presidents, and we'll meet there. Well, they aren't going to get too wise guy, are they? You know, no, Groucho, and I'll be sitting there, and I know them. So the next day, I go to pick them up at the Astor Hotel, and you give them all the same treatment, a limousine. You know, especially it comes out of the company's pocket, and they're glad to pay it. That's a great way to keep a client. So I tell the guy, wait wherever you can near Times Square, and I go up to meet him. And it's, you know, long hallways they had, long hallways, and they had all kinds of rooms, single rooms, double rooms, rooms where the bedrooms and stuff were upstairs, you know, duplexes, I think they call it. And I'm walking down the hall wondering, you know, am I looking right? Am I doing right to meet this guy? And I hear somebody singing. This is actually how it happened. And the voice is coming out down the hall, and as I get near it, I see the door is open. So I knock on the door, and voice says, is that you, Beckwith? You know how we talk with the cigar and everything. And I said, yep. He said, come on in. And I hear the guitar playing and a very good voice singing. And I walk in, and he doesn't get up, you know, he with his head, he motions I should sit in the seat, and he's playing and he's playing. And I start making a few remarks. I'm not getting very far, but I'm making these remarks. And finally, I said, geez, Groucho, you're singing away. Where do you find time? He had just come out with a book, was the real reason he wanted to get to New York, to exploit his book. He had just come out with a book, and he had just made a big picture, a big hit, and some other things. And I knew he was going to be busy, and I said, well, geez, I never heard you sing before. And he said, well, you don't know what you're missing, you know, some crap like that. And but I liked him right away, and fortunately, he didn't throw me out, so I knew I was getting along. And he played, and he kept playing this guitar, and he played it very well, and he picks it like a Spanish guitar and everything. I said, geez, I didn't know you played, and I certainly didn't know you sang. He said, of course I sing. I said, well, you never sing in your pictures. You're never available for commercial singing or something like that. I said, how can you do it? When do you practice? So he says, you see this apartment? And there's steps up. He says, my wife is upstairs. And pretty soon I'm going to yell up and say, are you ready, darling? And if she says, I'll be right down, I know I got a half hour to practice. Those were his exact words. He said it. I said, you know, he says, that's the truth. That's how you live with her. And that was my introduction. I took him over to lunch in the limousine, and he handled himself pretty well. He was, I don't want to say communist, he was very socialistic in his views, and fortunately nobody got upset by it. But he wasn't afraid to say what he felt was right. And to me, he was a good guy, and I didn't see him again for months, so it worked out.
Aaron, tell him the story about Dick Powell. Bet would be interested in.
Do you remember Dick Powell?
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
Did I tell you these stories?
No. Not Dick Powell.
Mildred, this is ruining our chances of coming back next year. We got no more stories to tell.
Yeah,
I'm in. I don't know about you.
yeah, she gets to talk about Belle.
Oh.
Yeah. You're just a guest speaker.
Oh.
Yeah.